the Lieutenant Governor for me.
Yeah, he's coming on right next. Okay, thanks. 8:20. Yeah, and on that note, let's just keep it going here in the KUAM News Zoom room and bring on Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio. Good morning, LT.
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Sabrina. Good
Hi,
morning, Guam.
hi, a day. Malongosi boy. So let's start at the beginning. You had the COVID. Can you just walk us through what it was like for you? Because we had heard things and we were concerned, and we're so glad that you're here now.
Hey, well, I appreciate that, and I want to thank everybody for their prayers. But and there's so many people that are fighting it right now. But basically, I went through 9 days straight of a fever, Chris, and I'm glad I'm on my fifth day without one. But it was really exhausting. I tell you, overnight probably was some of the worst periods of time, and didn't eat a lot. I think you can tell I dropped some baby fat. But I had a lot of family and friends that would drop things over to my front door, drink a lot of water, and just be optimistic. But I have to tell you, it can get very grueling, and just thinking about all the other people out there that are going through this by themselves. It is a tremendous thing to deal with, and I'm almost back to normal, but I'm not there yet. Yesterday I did a bunch of chores to kind of clean things up, and was just a little tired, but I started re-engaging, and I would listen in on meetings and really not communicate much, but I'm really grateful that I'm able to be here at this point.
Was there any point when you were feeling ill that you felt as though you may need to go to the hospital?
Gosh, I tell you, it's the thought that creeps up in your mind when you're just in a feeling of despair. And what I did was I had a good friend that dropped off an oximeter, which is put it on your finger to kind of keep levels of your oxygen. So I was keeping track and making sure that my oxygen levels were there, and they were borderline at times. Wow. And there was one day that I thought maybe I might have to go to the hospital, but continuing to rest and just drinking water and continuing to just try and fight it, I was able to move past that.
Lieutenant Governor, I want to ask, because when people get this, they're fighting it alone. So what was that isolation like for you?
Well, for me, it's a double-edged sword. So my partner Matt and I both had it. So we've been maybe fortunate that we're watching each other. And there are days where I had it way worse than he did. There are days where he had it, in fact, a few days ago, much worse than I. And we talked that it was, being able to be there for each other. But there are many times where we're just in different rooms. Maybe sometimes we call each other on the phone just to make sure we're okay, but we're just kind of like immobile and just trying to be as comfortable as possible. But I have to tell you that, based on, some people were blessed. They didn't have as strong symptoms. Some people had it like me, where it's pretty rough, and some people are even worse, where it's even gotten themselves hospitalized, even younger people than me. So you just, it's true what they say, you just never know what the situation is going to be based on what happens to you personally. There doesn't seem to be a rhyme or reason why some people get it worse than others. But with this volume of people that we have positive, more than 400 in the last month, there's a lot of people that are having a hard time out there. And I just, for people that are not sick and can offer some help, I would totally encourage there's little things, the water, the juice, really the water. Sometimes you don't have an appetite, but just, having people come call over and check on you to make sure that if there's anything you need and to drop it, it really does play a big difference. I just encourage people that if you know of a loved one that has it, you don't check them all the time because you want them to rest, but just make sure that, they have things. And there are a bunch of people, including some folks in the village that had just, dropped things, and it really is very gratifying. And it was very helpful, very helpful.
I just have to say, it really sounds scary what you are describing, and everything that you went
Sabrina,
through.
it's so crazy that there were about 3 nights in a row at night when you're just kind of almost thinking that you're kind of out of your body, where you're trying to rest, but then you're breathing. It's almost like you're breathing, but then there's your body or something. It's just really weird.
Yeah. Lieutenant Governor, as you lay in bed and you had that fever all those days in a row, was there ever a point where you kind of thought about people who are worse off than you with the pre-existing comorbidities, and did it at all kind of remind you that
Chris,
of the decisions you got to make?
Biggest terrifying thing for me was making sure or knowing that my mom, for example, was at risk of being contaminated by me. And I had seen her maybe 3 days before I tested positive, and kept checking, and unfortunately my sister has it. She's segregated in isolation from my mom and her 2 kids. Our house in Sinania they're able to separate it. But that's the biggest fear is, you have a mom that for sure shouldn't have this. And then now, she's taking care of, my young nephews, making sure they don't have it. It's very, very scary. And a lot of people over the last few weeks, actually, especially the last week, I've been hearing more and more extended relatives and friends that have turned positive, people that I'm very concerned about because of their health issues. And so there's a lot of people out there that are going through this, and then there's even worse, there's a bunch in the hospital.
Right.
But
Right.
Do you? So when you hear someone like Tom, who was on our show earlier, about yes, we're going to go out there and we're going to go protest down in Tumon because it's our constitutional rights. I don't know. Does that make you kind of angry, going through what you're going through right now and seeing how it's affecting your family? And we've got 907 positive cases.
Well, I just tell them, wear your mask. If you don't have to be out, don't be out. There's people that are going to do things, that no matter what, they don't feel it's going to impact them. It's just really make sure you're not a danger to others. Right. Whether or not you don't care if you get it or not, that's, your choice. But if you have you may be the one that is at risk of giving it to somebody that you love, or that's in your family, or one of your colleagues, and think twice. Just be careful.
LT, I mean, I know we're in a heavy PCOR 1 lockdown now, and the people have been hating on it and haven't just, I don't even want to say recovered, because it sounds like you're still having a little bit of a hard time with it. What's your message to those people? Because I think you're in a place where you can kind of talk about why we need this lockdown, having the COVID.
Well, I know that people are kind of restless because it's been since March since we've been dealing with this. But quite frankly, we have over 900 cases on Guam now, with 400 of them just been diagnosed since this month started. We are definitely in a bad situation. And in order to improve things, we have to take drastic action like the governor has authorized in her executive order. It's not anything that anyone would want to do. People love their freedoms, they love their liberties. But in order to try and make sure that we can sustain ourselves and that our healthcare system is able to care for the sickest of those that are battling this and all the other things that they're dealing with. On top of COVID, we also have a community that is not the healthiest. And if we are able to, if we're going to be able to fight this and respond to people's healthcare needs, then this sacrifice is definitely something we need to take together. And it's not going to be forever. We just continue to monitor the situation and do things to get us into a better outcome than where we have been in the last few weeks, especially.
Do you think that we're going to have to extend this current version of PCOR 1 beyond this Friday, Lieutenant Governor?
Not sure yet. Well, I'll be monitoring it daily. I have a call that I'll be jumping on in a few minutes to get an update on what's going on with all the situation with GMH and public health.
Well, thanks for coming on. You need kuddu or what? How's your appetite? Are you hungry yet, LT?
Thank you so much. I'm good for now.
Okay, yeah.
Let's get through this.
Yeah, right. So, Lieutenant Governor,
It's good to see you guys.
It
You
is.
too.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
Take care.
Take care. Wash your hands. Be safe. All right.
All right.
There you go. Well, Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio on what we hope is the tail end of his bout with COVID. Wow, definitely a different Lieutenant Governor than we're used to having. I was just thinking last night during the first lockdown when we lost Easter. Lieutenant Governor had made that commitment that we're going to redo Easter, and he had said something like, if anything, just so I could see Chris in a pink bunny suit.
No, you know what? I had a similar thought, Chris, because I wanted to say I've known, and I'm gonna refer to him common right now because I've known Josh since high school. Right, he's a year older than I am, and he has always been someone who's always been very articulate. He's always spoken very confidently, and always, as long as I've known him, he's always chosen his words very, very carefully. That was a man right there who was speaking from the heart, speaking very honestly, and he was not the Segundo Magalahi of our island in that, at the beginning of the interview, he was a guy who had just been through something that really did a number on him. And it was just so honest, and I was like, wow, that's just a guy. That's one of our neighbors going through this.
Man, I forgot to ask him if he thought it was a bitch, though.
Oh, that would have been a good close.
God darn it. Okay.
There will be other opportunities.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure his answer is yes, though.
Great to see him doing better, though.
Yeah,
that was so inspiring.
Definitely. Hey, it's 8:33. We'll take a short break. Hospital Administrator Lillian Posadas is next with the latest update